In today's video, I will show you my AR defense as usual. I changed the setup a little bit because I wanted to test it. I was curious about this. The build didn't change, it's the same. And I also placed the fortress in the middle because I think it's much better than placing it in rightmost corner, rightmost column. Because eventually maybe someone would like to smite a super tank right in the middle, so as to make sure the super tank is in range of everyone, which is not something you want them to do. Ideally, with a cav line, you want to force the super tank to go to the left side or the right side, so that not everyone is in range of this tank and can move freely to the left or right side eventually to snipe someone else. So a few days ago I made a video about odd recovery cav line. I will put a link in the description so that if you haven't seen, you can watch. But I wasn't satisfied with the video because it seems that I have forgot to mention many things important. So I will talk about this in this video as you watch the replays. So the first thing you must consider when using odd recovery is that because odd recovery removes penalties on allies, the healer, Veronica for example, has no restore target. She can be an easy bait. So my idea was that I would use a strong damage dealer in the back line so that this damage dealer is not the bait of anyone. Because if they use double bait, the rally may not work as intended. And you have to choose the right unit for the rally. Because let's say Veronica is the target of the no-see disrupt tank. You know, no-see disrupt tank usually is green. If you use Reinhardt and place Reinhardt in the back and rally Veronica, who is for example here, the bad thing is that Reinhardt will rally Veronica but will not attack Fallen Leon or Brave Ike and attack someone else instead, adjacent. Could be Air, Peony or Brave Lucina. But that means Veronica's column is now wide open for Veronica to commit a suicide attack against Brave Ike. So you killed one unit, but you also lost one unit. And ideally what you want is having someone like Lilina who targets immediately Brave Ike, so that she blocks the column and avoid Veronica to commit a suicide attack. Unfortunately, we don't have many good red cavalry units. We have red daggers such as Elise, very good with Broadly Fan, or Lilina red with Broadly Fan, or eventually we have Erika, the mage Erika. But that's about it. Also, one thing some smart player will notice eventually, and you must keep that in mind because this is very important. Odd recovery removes penalty on allies, only allies, which means if they use Mila to isolate Veronica, that also means I cannot use Lilina's rally on Veronica. So Veronica will attack Brave Ike and commit a suicide attack. One way to avoid this problem is to place a structure to block Veronica so that she cannot be the target of anyone. She's unbeatable. Or you can use also some maps such as Lost Castle. Lost Castle has a tree in the second column. The Spring Breeze has a breakable structure in fourth column. Or you have a lava map, third column, which makes Veronica unbeatable. You can use that. But if you want to use a rally trap on Veronica, still, despite what I've said about this danger, that some people might know the trick. You want the rally trap to work effectively. For example, if they bait both Veronica and Lynn or Summer Mia, it is possible that Lilina will use rally on someone else. She might use rally on Summer Mia instead of Veronica, which could be a big problem. One way to avoid this problem would be to use, for example, fortified cavalry on Lilina, so that Summer Mia gets +6 death res buff, and use rally defense or res on Lilina. So Lilina will never use rally on Summer Mia, and she will always use rally on Veronica. So that is how you make sure that the rally works, and always target the right unit. Now, if you don't want to use rally because you're afraid that, as I said before, some players might understand the trick about odd recovery, you may not use an assist healing on Veronica. You may eventually remove the assist, because if you make sure that all the calves have no assist, and you make sure that you have 2 dancers and place them somewhere in the middle, 2 of these calves will eventually get danced, and they will snipe someone and get 2 kills in total, and that is a lot. Turn 1, this is a lot. Because one thing you cannot control about the movement of your calf is that whether the calf moves to the right side or left side depends on the positioning of the units of the enemy team. For example, if you place air in the left side, it's obvious that Lin will move to the left side. If you place, for example, Freya right side, Lilina will have a good chance to move to the right side, chasing Freya. So you don't know how they will place and where they will place their own units. So having 2 dancers placed in the middle of a map increase the chance actually that your opponent cannot really predict easily how your own unit move and where they move. And now about the 2 dancers setup. There is something you might ask and wonder. If you don't have Triandra, if you have only one Triandra and think you can use a second dancer like Eldigan, I think this is a problem, because if you use Eldigan, you probably want to use a second mythic, because it gives plus defense, plus HP. In fact, it gives more bulk and you need the bulk to survive. Either enemy phase or player phase. The problem is that if you use Erdigan plus Triandra and another mythic, ideally a ranged mythic such as Yun or Bremimon, that also means your cav line applies much less pressure because you have one less cav. For example, in my setup, I have 3 threatening columns, 1, 2 and 3. This column is not threatening, or apparently it seems not, but in the end, if you remove one of the cav and replace it by a dancer, you let the opponents the chance to avoid turn 1 engagement and wait turn 3 ball tower or something and prepare their own attack. The good thing about Kevlar is that it prevents the opponent from using broken stuff like ball tower, and it prevents them from using smart positioning so that they can more effectively, initiate a good attack. If you don't let them prepare their attack with good positioning, it's pretty bad for them. And it will ultimately increase the chance of success of your cav line. So I think you must have at least 4 cavalry units. It's for the best. 2 mythics, 4 cavalry units. So yeah, the reason why I said that this caution about odd recovery is that you probably know by now that IS has made a new change to the EVA rates, a new update. And this update is something very nice, but it also means that we will be facing stronger opponents in the future as we climb EVA raids, as you can see here. So tier 31, 38, as we climb EVA raids, now there is less chance, starting to 23, that we are getting matched with bad players. So again, this is something you have to consider. You have to think that we will face better players by now. And we have to make sure that odd recovery is effective and understand what is good and what is bad with odd recovery. I still believe odd recovery is really, really strong, because just having the certainty that 2 dancers will actually dance, it's pretty strong, even considering that Veronica herself can be isolated. There are strategies and tips to make sure that she won't be the target of an enemy using this lava or this tree. So anyway, next week there is a high chance, very very good chance, that I will further the odd recovery for Veronica and use 45 cavalry on Lilina so that Mia will not be the target of a useless rally. I will use this map, but next time I will use the Lost Castle, because there are several things that seems really nice with Lost Castle, and I want to try it. So yeah, that's it for today.